Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Regardless of where you are, it's always a great time to have a conversation and to meditate on the lessons that we receive from the spiritual world. Today, we're going to be covering chapter 11 of the book Our Daily Bread. However, before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Kardec Radio to provide this platform for us to have these conversations. Kardec Radio is available again in different platforms, and they also have their own app that can be used for us to have access to both to podcast types of programs. So make sure you follow them in the different types of social media. And actually, it is possible to add comments or questions to the Kardec Radio staff using X, which was the application or the platform formerly known as Twitter. All right. So without further ado, let's close our eyes and connect with our spiritual friends, those who are always trying to reach us, always trying to help us from the spiritual world, and who are always trying to inspire us in our moments of difficulties, and who are always cheering for us for our spiritual development. So let's concentrate on them. Let's focus on them. Let's elevate our minds and forget about all of our troubles for a few more minutes. And let's focus on the good of the universe, on the good of life, and all the blessings that we receive at every moment, the blessing of knowledge, the blessing of love, and especially the bless of the challenges because they make us better spirits. So be it. All right. So today we're going to be discussing again chapter 11 of the book Our Daily Bread. And this chapter is titled Goodness is Tireless. And it's based on the second letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 3, verse 13. And it reads like this: as for you, my brothers, never tire of doing what is right. So let me just read it again. As for you, brothers, never tire of doing what is right. So this is kind of interesting because I believe on the second, in the second chapter, actually in the second, I believe the eighth chapter as well, there are excerpts from the first letter to the Thessalonians, and Paul was concerned about some of the attitudes from that particular congregation. And now on the second one, he's exalting them because they are trying, there have been improvements from the first letter, and they are now trying to do what's right. So, but then he reminds them, hey, keep trying to do what's right. Keep moving in the right direction. And what he's implying here is that even though others might not be doing the same, not everybody in the congregation, not everybody in that particular church were doing the right things. At least try yourself to do what's right. So, and then based on that, then Emmanuel explains to us, and this is how he starts the lesson here. It is common to encounter people who claim to be tired of doing good. Notwithstanding, let us be convinced that such allegations do not flow from a pure fountain. So, how many times people are complaining? How many times aren't we complaining about doing what's right, and about complaining about the attitudes of others? And sometimes we compare ourselves to others, indicating that, hey, why should I be trying to do what's right whereas other ones are not doing the same, where other ones are not pulling their weight. And a lot of times, in so many times, we see the triumph of evil on earth. We see the triumph of those who are cheating, those who are not, who are being dishonest, who are being unethical, and and us who are trying to do what's right, and we have so many struggles. So a lot of times, we face ourselves with this kind of dilemma, and we do feel frustrated. However, Emmanuel reminds us here that these allegations are not really as unselfish as they might seem. And he continues here the lesson, indicating that it is only those who are seeking a specific advantage for their own interests, with a desire for immediate gain that become tired almost to the point of desperation when they are unable to achieve their selfish goals. So he is indicating here that there's a level of selfishness. Whenever people indicate they're feeling tired of doing what's right, there is a certain level of selfishness that indicates, and of course applies to us as well, since we're imperfect spirits. So a lot of times we're indicating that, but because not so much tired because we're tired of doing what's right, but it's because we're tired of waiting for some kind of reward, right? We're expecting the world to reward us, to recognize us for doing what's right. And because of that, he continues here with his explanation. It is indispensable to observe the immense prudence when a particular circumstance causes us to reflect on the evil that is assaulting us, in spite of the good that we judge we have planted and nurtured. So it's kind of, it does hit home whenever we go through these situations in which we believe that we're trying to do what's right, and then we do not get the results by material standards. We do not get the recognition, and a lot of times we get the ingratitude by others. So we got to reflect that. I mean, are we really being unselfish whenever we're performing those acts, whenever we're trying to do what's right? Are we truly, is it truly coming from our heart, or are we expecting to be applauded by those around us? Interesting enough, here, then Emmanuel explains that the sincere apprentice does not ignore that Jesus has exerted his ministry of love without exhaustion ever since the beginning of planetary organization. So, Emmanuel is reminding us that Jesus has been present since the formation of the earth. Jesus is the governor of our planet. So, as we see here, that ever since the planet was formed about 3.5 billion years ago, so Jesus has been around. He's been working, and Jesus has been for the longest time. Even before the planet was created, he was already a perfect spirit. So can you imagine now a perfect spirit who still works, who is still just trying to do what's right, and who's not given up on us, on the humanity that inhabits this particular planet? And Emmanuel continues here, with regards to individual personal cases, the master must have felt the thorns of our ingratitude on many occasions when observing our backwardness in fulfilling tasks of personal illumination. So again, Jesus, our master, our guide, our model, he has not given up on us. So he doesn't need, Jesus does not need our recognition. He does not need our applaud. He does not need any rewards from us. There's nothing we can provide to Jesus to make him feel recognized. On the contrary, just think about the level of that if we were in Jesus's shoes, just imagine the level of frustration, right? Having to deal with us, having to observe our slow pace, all of our mistakes, not only our mistakes, but also the recurring mistakes. So think about it. So the most perfect spirit who has ever come to earth has had patience with all of us. And so, what should we expect? What should we expect from ourselves? You know, we should. He he is our model, so we should follow his teachings. So Emmanuel continues here. In spite of verifying our voluntary and often criminal errors, he has never demonstrated impatience. Instead, he corrects us with his love, tolerates us with his edification, and extends his merciful arms over each renovating project. So again, can you imagine a spirit that's been working with us for 3.5 billion years? Sometimes we do not have patience to deal with one our brothers and sisters for 5 minutes. Sometimes we do something that we believe that is good, that is helping somebody, and we expect that person to say, at least say thank you, and tell others about what we've done. And when the opposite, when nothing happens, then we feel impatient. But just imagine now Jesus, who's been working with us, he's been patient with us for 3.5 billion years. It's not 3.5 minutes, it's not 3.5 years, it's not 3.5 million years, it's 3.5 billion years. And he keeps correcting us with love, and love that he uses to send so many emissaries to us to correct us, to help us grow. And it tolerates us. He has patience with his edification. We are his edification. We are his biggest project. So he's been patient with us, and he extends his merciful arms over each renovating project. So I mean, every little opportunity that we have, every little of renovation of us and of civilization of the earth. And he's not talking about success stories. He's talking about each project. So every time that we have a project, every time we're trying to do something, so we have the support. So that's why the prayer is so important whenever we're trying to achieve anything. Because whenever we pray, we're not praying again, God does not need our prayers. Whenever we pray, and neither do our spiritual friends, our spiritual benefactors. So when we pray, it's the opposite. We are the ones who connect to God. We're the ones who connect to the higher order, higher spheres in the spiritual world. So it is us. So whenever we connect and whenever we try to do something good, instead of expecting again that those around us recognize us, let's on the flip side, let's actually connect and ask for her help and patience from the spiritual world. And continue here, Emmanuel continues his explanation about Jesus. If he has withstood us and waited for us for so many centuries, why can we not also withstand with enthusiasm whatever minor deceptions of a mere few days we must undergo? So again, Emmanuel is putting things in perspective here for us. So again, Jesus, who's given us the example of being so patient with humankind, and of course, humankind has always re-inciting into so many mistakes, into so many errors, but he has not given up. So neither should we. Neither should we give up on others, and especially neither should we give up on ourselves as well. And here, Emmanuel finalizes by saying the observation made by Paul to the Thessalonians is therefore very justified. If we become tired of doing good, such a disaster would certainly only show that as yet we have not been able to eliminate evil within ourselves. So again, Emmanuel reminds us that the reason why we're expecting these rewards, any kind of reward, any kind of recognition from those around us for whatever we do that is good, that implies that it's not so much that the good is coming from a pure heart. It's because it comes from a heart, again, that is selfish, that is proud, and is full of imperfections. But again, that's who we are. So we gotta really reflect. We gotta really look inside of ourselves and try to see, hey, what's going on? If I'm hurt because somebody did not say thank you, if I'm hurt because somebody sometimes betrayed me, let's look into ourselves and analyze actually what is the motive for that. Are we being unselfish, or we were just doing good, just fine doing good, but actually we are expecting something in return? So again, and another interesting point as well is that we have such a great way of looking at ourselves. We have such um, a grandiose way of analyzing the good that we do that sometimes we overestimate what we're doing for others. And not only that, sometimes what we think we're doing for others might not be the best for that particular individual. So it requires a lot of introspection for us to look inside ourselves and try to understand, what am I doing? Is it truly, truly being beneficial for someone? And again, it was all part of our evolutionary process. We evolve both intellectually and morally. So the moral side, it drives us to do what is good, And the intellectual side is extremely important because it allows us to analyze and to better better discern on what we're doing, if it's really good, if it's the best, or in those aspects where we could do even better. That's why, according to the spirits book, usually spirits evolve first on the intellectual side, then in the moral side, usually. And that's it provides some complications because again, our tendency is to learn more and more from the scientific standpoint, from the technological standpoint, and leaving behind the morals. However, at some point they do balance out, and we keep our development. And but again, the more of the intellectual development, it helps us discern, helps us make better decisions using our mind, so that we can also use our heart and take action to assist others as well. And again, the intellectual side is very important as well for us to analyze ourselves, analyze our behavior, and especially analyze what is it that is driving us to do the right thing, and also to determine whether or not we're truly doing what is right for us, for ourselves, and for others. All right. So this is the lesson for today. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. And again, I'd like to thank Kardec Radio for providing a platform for us to have conversations such as these here. And make sure you follow them in their different social media. There is always so much that Kardec Radio can offer as far as teachings, and giving us opportunities for all of us to learn so much more. At this time, I'd like to invite everyone to close their eyes again and to thank the blessing of the teachings that Spiritism provides to us, the wisdom that we receive by being able to analyze our actions and to determine really, really the level of unselfishness in what we do and what is it that we need to improve on. Also, the importance of let go of petty preoccupations, and to focus on what is good, and to focus on our development and on assisting others to develop as well. There are so many opportunities for us to do what is right. There are so many opportunities for us to help others, and there's so much energy that is required for us to do those great things. So let's not waste time or energy complaining about the ungratefulness of others, because again, Jesus has been with us for so many centuries and he has never complained. On the contrary, he's always has always celebrated our great actions and those times when we truly do what's right, and when we evolve either as individuals or as humankind as a whole. Many blessings to all of us, and may God's peace be with us. So be it.